Hey, welcome everybody to our webinar today to introduce you all to Nutshell Scheduler. If I can just real quick get someone in the chat just to let them know that you can hear me. Hey, okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenna. And Andy, if you want to give us a quick mic check
Will,
too.
I can hear you, and it's great to be here this morning. Good morning.
Okay, and I can hear you as well. So perfect. We'll just give a 30 seconds to a minute here just to see if someone else or other people are jumping on. We did reach our capacity as far as registrants for as many attendees as we can have. So if you have a colleague that can't get on, or if you do happen to get kicked off because we do reach capacity and become a full house, just know that this webinar will be recorded and you will receive an email once it gets rendered and everything after the fact of the full recording. We will also post the recording on our website. So don't worry if you can't attend the whole thing or if you miss out on questions at the end, because we will open up for some Q&A. Cool, that should give enough time for many more people to hop on. Thank you for attending. I am Will Gordon. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Nutshell, and we've got our CEO, Andy Fowler, here, one of the forces behind building Nutshell Scheduler. And Andy's hopping on here to introduce us to one of our newest features, Nutshell Scheduler, and also going to walk us through it. Andy was gracious enough to spend some time last week to record a pre-recording of him walking through the product demo. So we'll get to that in just a second. And then at the end, we'll also open up for some Q&A, as I'm sure there's going to be some questions with this new feature rolling out. But Andy, before we do get into the product demo itself, before I share that here, you're going to get into the how to use it, how to set it up, everything like that. Why did we invest in building Scheduler for our customers? What was the reason, the why behind that?
Yeah, great question, Will. As we scripted here, but we've been big fans of Calendly. We've used Calendly for years. Our sales team and our support team find it to be a really useful tool to eliminate the back and forth on scheduling, to make it really easy to find time that works for your team and your prospects, your customers, so you can all get connected on a Zoom call or a Google Meet or that kind of thing. But the challenge that we ran into is it's a great sort of point solution for solving that one particular issue of finding available time. But given that Nutshell or your CRM is where you're actually keeping track of those interactions of which sales rep said what to which prospect, understanding actually what types of activities you're having with your prospects was really important. So there's a lot of missing pieces of the integration. So we think the feature itself is really important, but what matters even more is how that feature is integrated into the CRM so that it can fully know what types of activities you're having with your prospects. We think it's just a lot better to have all of that under one roof.
Couldn't agree more, Andy. So cool, we'll get started here with our product demo. We will share a video here. If it doesn't come through, you can't see, just someone speak up in the chat just so we have it there. It's about 6 minutes long. Once the video is over, we'll open up the chat for some Q&A just to see if you have any questions on the feature itself. If you have them throughout while the video is playing, just feel free to go in there. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can within the half hour that we scheduled for this webinar today. So let's get our
Hi, I'm Andy Fowler, and
running.
I'm going to introduce you to Nutshell Scheduler so you can accept meetings via a shareable link or a form on your website. To get started, you're going to find Nutshell Scheduler under the calendar link and the sidebar of Nutshell, and we're going to open that up here. Now, before you can use Scheduler, you'll need to connect Nutshell to your Google or Office 365 calendar so that we can determine your availability and so that we can push those events back to your calendar. I've already connected my Google account here, and you can see that it's connected. We're going to start by accepting some bookings for a 30-minute product demo. So I'm going to create a new meeting here in Scheduler. I'm going to give it a name of 30-minute. Let's call it a 30-minute discovery Zoom call. In this view that pops up, you're seeing a preview of your meeting scheduler, and we're configuring everything that appears in it on the right side here. So this view on the left is exactly what your prospects are going to see. So let's give a little bit of a description here. You're going to say, meet with Andy to learn about Nutshell. That description is going to appear on the left-hand side in your preview here, and we're going to give a confirmation message. This is a message that will appear to your prospects after they fill out the form. So I'm just going to say, thanks for booking with me. see you on Zoom soon. There we go. Okay, on the right-hand side, you can see the rest of kind of the basic configuration here. So we can choose how long this meeting is going to exist. And we're gonna say that for this meeting, we are scheduling Zoom calls. I've already connected to Zoom, but if you haven't done that, you're going to click here, log into Zoom, and with a click, you'll be able to create those Zoom meetings. So now when a prospect schedules through this link here, it's going to automatically create a Zoom link that will be emailed to me and to the participants. Next, we can set an activity type. So if you use Nutshell's activity reporting, you'll know that setting up different activity types is a useful way of reporting on your team's output. So you might track meetings versus phone calls. In this case, I've made a specific activity type called a discovery Zoom call, so that anytime someone schedules through this form, it's going to create it in Nutshell as a discovery Zoom call. Next, I'll define my availability. What time of day I want to get started and what days of the week. Now, Nutshell is smart enough, it's not going to allow someone to book when you already have a meeting scheduled. So here we're just setting our basic time of day. I'm going to say that I don't want to have these discovery meetings on Wednesdays. And maybe on Thursdays, we're going to start a little bit late at 10 a.m. I'm going to save those changes. And you can see over on the left side that the preview of our scheduling form has updated. So I no longer have availability on Wednesdays. Another great capability of Nutshell Scheduler is that it sits on top of Nutshell Forms. So as someone fills out this and sets their availability here, the next thing they're going to be presented with is a form. And all of the existing capabilities of Nutshell Forms are available in a scheduler. So say I want to collect a few other pieces of information from my prospects before we get on a call. I can add another field here. And let's say I want to figure out if this is a Mac user or a PC user. In addition to collecting a prospect's name and email address, I'm going to say I want to add a drop down here. I've already created a custom field inside of Nutshell of whether someone uses a Mac or a PC, and I've added that form to the scheduler link here. So now when someone schedules some time with me, I'm also going to ask them about their operating system of choice. What we can also do here inside of Nutshell Scheduler is advanced options. And these are mostly about your other availability. So if you want to make sure you don't get sort of a slam dunk meeting scheduled, that's this minimum notice dialog. We can also choose sort of what increments we're showing time availability in, and we're giving some buffer time so I don't have meetings stacked up right against each other. Okay, so that's all I needed to do to set up this scheduler link. There's two ways that you can share a scheduler link with your prospects. The first is that you can put it on your website. So if we hit share here, you'll see some HTML code that you can drop onto your website, and this form will be available there. Or we can provide a link that I might say send in an email to a prospect and they can schedule time with us. So I'm going to copy this link. And I'm just going to fill this out as if I'm a prospect scheduling some time with me. So here is my meeting scheduler. I'm going to say I want to schedule some time at 4:30 this afternoon. I'm going to fill out my name. Let's say I'm Neil Armstrong, and I'm neil@example.com. And Neil Armstrong, of course, was a Mac user. The meeting has been scheduled now. So here's what's going to happen at this point. Neil Armstrong is going to get an email from my calendar. He's going to get that invitation for this meeting at 4:30 today. And then me as the host has also received an email from Nutshell alerting me to the fact that I've collected a new booking through my form. And that meeting is now on my calendar as well. So I'm going to jump back to Nutshell here. And if we go to our bookings page, we'll see the Neil Armstrong and Andy Fowler 30-minute discovery Zoom call is scheduled today at 4:30 p.m. In that invitation that Neil Armstrong received, it even includes a rescheduling. So if for some reason your prospect has to reschedule, they can do that and move it around on your calendar, reduces your chances of just kind of getting a no-show there. I can open this up and you'll see that this was booked with Scheduler, and it looks like any other activity inside of Nutshell. After we get off of our call, I can even log it, include my normal notes. And that's Nutshell Scheduler. Thanks for joining me today, and happy nutshelling.
Thank you so much for recording that video for us, Andy, and also being able to multitask and answer some questions in the chat while seemingly showing us the entire product. I do see a few questions rolling in so far. I want to take the opportunity to ask the first two, again, somewhat scripted here. But I know since we've released Scheduler, it's been available to try out for the last 2 weeks. We've already added some updates to it. What have been some of those updates? And then are there any future features that we currently have planned or in our roadmap to improve Scheduler down the line?
Yeah, definitely. So we're eager to hear how Scheduler works for our customers, and we're a pretty nimble team that can respond to that feedback quickly. So the more that we hear, the faster we can move there. A handful of things that we've added so far. We've made it easier for prospects to sort of double check their time zone when they're scheduling with you. So if you noticed in my screen share, it kind of showed a UTC offset, and that was a little bit jargony. So we now show the local time in your prospect's time zone and the name of their time zone. So even if you're on the East Coast and they're on the West Coast, they're going to see the right time for them, and they're going to be able to confirm that it lines up. We've also added an index page of meetings. So maybe you want folks to be able to schedule a 15-minute meeting or an hour-long meeting, and they can choose which one works best for them. Or maybe you want to give them the option of joining a phone call or joining a Zoom meeting with you, and so they can pick which sort of form of communication works best for them. So you can now have a link to your collection of meetings and send a link where your prospect can match what works best for them. And of course, other things in the works, as I mentioned in chat, supporting Google Meets as another type of meeting format is on our to-do list here, and we're gonna keep pushing forward on that front.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. I have one more question, but I'll save it for the end. I see a few more questions coming in here. We had a question answered for Drew and for Brittany. Catching up for Sandy's question here, can we create a Google Calendar that is just for bookings, and can we block out certain time blocks so that only what remains is what Nutshell reads is open, or can it only tie to existing email addresses?
Yes. So when you set up Scheduler, you will choose which of your Google Calendars is being used as your sort of source of availability. So if you say have a personal and a professional calendar, you could pick which one of those you want to use, and it's going to put it on there. I think what they might be asking about is sort of a shared calendar, where maybe a handful of folks are collaborating on the same availability. That's not available yet. Of course, you could just, I suppose if you just wanted to create a shared calendar and all of you are working from the same one, that would be possible. But we do have some plans to explore some more sophisticated scheduling, say round robin, where you might say there's a team of 3 reps, and the first scheduled meeting is going to go to Jared, and the next one's going to go to Pam, and then the next one's going to go to Gustavo. And we're also working on sort of a collective availability where your prospects might need to meet with 2 people. So maybe you want to make sure that both Will and I are available. So it's going to look at Nutshell's calendar for Will and Nutshell's calendar for me, and find where we overlap and present that availability to prospects. So that's in the works. That's not available yet today, but you can pick which calendar is used as sort of the availability source.
Awesome. Another question coming in here from Drew. Can you limit how soon in advance people can book meetings?
Yep. That's that first option on the advanced options page. Call that the slam dunk option. And I think by default it's set to 3 hours. So you might not have a prospect that can book 10 minutes from now and you're ill prepared for it. So that is an option there of how much notice you need for a booking.
And Drew, I told Andy I wouldn't use Scheduler unless that was on there. So I had at least a half hour before he booked a meeting with me. Question from Amy. I don't know if there's enough context here. Maybe Andy, you can figure this one out. Timeline on Google Meets. Oh, I guess the timeline on this be able to use for Google Meets. Sorry, Amy.
I don't know if any of our engineering team is on the call here, so I probably shouldn't commit to a specific timeline, but I would say on the order of weeks rather than months for Google Meet. And so the more people we hear asking about that, the higher I'll push that up Chris's list, but it's not a big lift for us.
Awesome. And one from Barb that I think you might have answered in the last answer. Can I include another salesperson to Scheduler, so multiple people in the calendar invite?
Not at the moment, but that sort of group calendar where you say multiple reps are going to be available for this meeting is coming soon. We've specifically got that in our roadmap here, where you could say, okay, Will and I are going to both be necessary to participate in this meeting, so we're only going to show availability. That's in the works. And I did want to answer one other question on here. I know you're kind of triaging these, Will, but I saw someone asked about collecting a lead through that, and that's definitely possible. And to add a bit more context to that, one of the reasons why we were so excited to build Scheduler and why it made sense given the roadmap that we're on is because it's built on top of the foundation of Nutshell Forms. So, we rolled out Nutshell Forms earlier this year, and that allows you to collect leads on your website and to gather prospect information, and for that all to be integrated in Nutshell. And like I said, we've been big fans of other form products out there like FormStack and Wufoo, and we've integrated with those for years. But the reason we built our own is because having the seamless integration is just the ideal thing. We really focus on design and a clean user experience. And to have custom fields that you build in Nutshell but aren't available in your form builder just created a lot of headaches when it came to mapping. And we kind of had this idea that if you're needing to map fields from one place to another, you're doing it wrong. So because Nutshell already is your sort of source of truth for the kind of custom fields that you're collecting and what you need to know about a prospect to move them through your sales pipeline, Nutshell Scheduler sits atop Nutshell Forms and has all of that same capability. So you can say, when someone fills out the Scheduler form, also create a lead, and you can even say, put it in this pipeline or give it this tag, that sort of thing.
Right on. Andy, are there any other questions you saw roll in that you want to take priority over before I just read down the list?
I'll let you pick them, Will. They're all exciting. They're getting me fired up to get back to work building it. So tell me what you see here.
That's what I figured. So this question from Nick, will this export the meeting back into the person's Outlook or Google Calendars for those that live by their calendars?
Yes, it will. Yep. So when your prospect schedules with you, as soon as that booking is made, it's going to put it right onto your calendar. You're going to see your prospect's name as a participant on that invitation. And it's going to show up on your calendar just like the rest of your day. And so that's how Nutshell uses your calendar to ensure that we have the correct availability. And by the way, you'll also have a link in that calendar event to rebook or cancel that reservation. So as the host of that meeting, you can use that link to reschedule. Maybe you've talked to the prospect over the phone and said, I need to meet with you later in the day. You can use that link, or your prospect can use that link to reschedule with you without ever needing to get in touch.
Right on. Mariana, I actually had this question for our software engineers just the other day. Are we planning on sending the reminders for the meetings via text message, just in case someone forgets to check their email, which I am guilty of quite frequently?
We don't have that directly on the roadmap. I will say, actually, that is something that I don't think was visible in the demo that I did last week and that we also rolled out since then. We now have reminder emails that are sent or can be configured to be sent to your prospects. You can choose to have a confirmation message as well as a 24-hour and a 30-minute reminder. So if your prospect doesn't live by their calendar the same way you live by your calendar, they're going to get those emails to remind them of the meeting. So right now, those reminders are only via email. Definitely, we hear from our customers every day that they are looking for more support on text messaging, whether that's for notifications or for actually exchanging messages with a prospect. What I'll say on that front is we really want to make sure that texting is a platform that works for our customers and their prospects and doesn't sort of steer into the spam territory. There's a lot of regulation out there and a lot of industry interest to make sure that texting isn't taken advantage of, and it can be really easy to lose those privileges once you have them. So we're kind of treading lightly at the moment there.
Makes a lot of sense. Question from Kim here. Do I have to create a new link for each meeting, or is there a discovery call link I can add to my email sign out? And I think I can take this one. Kim, if you wanted to have multiple meeting types, you would just create one separate meeting for each meeting type. But if you just wanted to include one calendar or one scheduler link for a specific meeting type in your email signature, that's all you would need to do. So one meeting, if you only have one meeting type, that would cover for anybody that would want to book time with you. How to do, Andy? You
did great, and I think I figured out our tool well enough here. Is my screen sharing correctly? I think I've got it working.
Yep, I can see it just
fine.
Fine.
So when I'm looking at my sort of homepage and scheduler, I only have one type of meeting available here now, but I referenced that sort of index page earlier. So I can now sort of provide this single link to my prospects, and every type of meeting that I make available can be seen under this one link. So if you were to actually open up this page, this is a bad example. Well, I guess I can't do it because I'm sharing this. Let's do it this way. If I had, say, a hour-long Zoom call, that would be here. And then my prospects could choose from all of those types of meetings that I'm hosting.
Awesome. So I think Jenna has a question here that I think we already answered. Will Nutshell block out time on calendars once it's booked? And I think we answered that as yes. It'll speak back to your Outlook or Google Calendar and block that time off then. We already answered our lead question. Multiple calendars, we checked that as well. How can I connect my calendar on Outlook? That might be a question can we dive into that one right now, Andy?
I don't have a screen share here.
Support article
I don't have a screen share on that, but the short of it is this works just as easily for Office 365 as it does for Google. So if your Outlook is hosted on Office 365, which most of our customers are on these days, that's a sort of Microsoft's cloud hosted email and calendar platform. You'll just click a link to sync your two calendars. Unfortunately, if you're on an older kind of what you might call like an Exchange server, we can't interface with those calendars at the moment. So we're really investing in our Office 365, or I think Microsoft is now calling it Microsoft 365 integration.
Cool. Question from Angela: can admins book on staff calendars?
That's a good question. I didn't cover that in the screen share. If I understand it correctly, you want to sort of see what the other folks on your team are doing when it comes to bookings. And that is a capability of Scheduler that I don't believe you can do in Calendly. So I'll share here again. And I don't have this exactly set up in my demo, but you can see here, I'm looking at my single Zoom call. My name's Andy Fallon. You're just seeing my meetings. If you were to look at Will's meetings, I could do this, and I could then see, hey, Will hasn't set up any meetings yet. I would bug Will, hey, go set up a meeting, start using that for scheduling with prospects. And I could see the meetings that he's created, and I could see the bookings that he's created here. So yes, as an admin, you can see both the meetings that your team has created and the bookings that they've received. And so that's how you would do that. And of course, I can then see inside of one of these meetings, the actual bookings that are being received. And the real advantage here is, while I can see that these are the bookings that are coming in through that form, those bookings are then just logged as regular activities in Nutshell. So all of our existing capabilities of activity reporting and the other tools that we have for measuring how your team is performing, those work automatically with Scheduler, because as meetings are created in Scheduler, they're created as activities in Nutshell, and they're one and the same.
Awesome. Thank you. This is actually a question I think that came up inside our Slack channel the other day, and I was very interested from the campaign side for Nutshell campaigns. From Chris: can I automate booking inside campaigns so that booking a call can actually be used as a drip campaign trigger?
That is a good question, and the answer is yes, because what you can do, this is going to require a little bit of a Nutshell pro hat, but you can say that when a booking is received, that it's actually going to tag your contacts with a particular tag, and then you can connect that tag to a drip sequence. So maybe you want to make a new tag that says, hey, these are people who came through my website on a particular page, or you might make a tag that says, hey, these are people who I think are particularly interested in this new service that I'm going to send a drip sequence about. So yes, you can configure Scheduler to tag new submissions, and then you can build a drip sequence that automatically sends when people get that tag.
Awesome. Very good to know for future Nutshell campaigns. Robert, how do we get technical support on this application? You can reach out to our support team to create a ticket at support@nutshell.com, or in the lower left-hand corner, when you're logged into the app, you can start a chat between the hours of 9 a.m. and newly extended, in case no one on this webinar knew this yet, but we are now available until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's correct, Andy, right?
That is right. I was going to pull it up here in a screen share one more time. I should probably just keep this open, but I'll give a plug for our in-app chat. That is always going to be the fastest way to get in touch with our team. You can send an email to support@nutshell.com, but with chat, you're going to be able to have a real-time back and forth. And looks like Brett and Kirsten and James and the gang are online now, and they can answer your questions.
Cool. Thank you. I know we're coming up here on the half hour, so I'll try to get two or three more questions in and then just close us out here. Um, can I use Scheduler in a marketing broadcast from Sonia?
Yes, you can. Ultimately, Scheduler is a link just like anything else. And, I would recommend if you're using Nutshell campaigns, use one of the button modules in there to sort of make a big call to action. So that it's nice and large for your prospects to see. That button could link directly to a Scheduler page. And of course, we're working to connect all of those dots so it's easier to kind of make the button and link it directly to a page, or to make a button and link it directly to an email sequence. We're going to be doing some more glue to make that process easier. But as it stands right now, you'll just take that link that you get out of Scheduler and put it into a Nutshell campaign.
And in fact, our customer success team is already using Scheduler this way, so I can guarantee that this will work for you. I guess I'll combine two questions here in one for time's sake from Mike and Drew. Is there a plan to add allow from multiple time intervals per day? And then will we add the functionality of allowing people to choose a location for the meeting? So this means offline, I would assume.
Yes. Yep. In fact, both of those are available now. I'll just pull open my screen share one more time to show that specifically. But when I set up this meeting here, oops, there's a message from Will right now. I can choose the location. So when we say location for a sort of virtual call, the location is just Zoom. But if this is an actual meeting and I'm accepting people coming to my office, maybe I'm a financial planner and my prospects are coming to me, I would just provide my address here, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And when my prospects when they fill out the scheduler form, they're going to get the confirmation, and it's going to say, you're scheduled for August 28th with Andy Fowler. Your meeting is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So this address can be assigned for those kinds of in-person locations. And I forget what the other part of the question was. I was too excited about that.
It was the allowing for multiple intervals per day.
That's right. Yes. This didn't make the original launch, but our success team was so confident that we didn't want to have meetings on the 15 minutes that we added this drop down here. So yes, by default, you'll see these meetings are in 30-minute intervals. If you want to accept those in 15-minute intervals, you'll now see that in my preview, I can take a meeting at 10 or 10:15 or 10:30. And that's what this start time drop down allows you to specify.
Awesome, thank you. And then to wrap us up here, we'll try to answer any questions on the webpage that we'll launch this webinar on after the fact for anything that we did answer. But I see a lot of questions on how much does it cost and how can you purchase Scheduler. So I can answer this one. Scheduler is actually available through our newest add-on for our CRM, which is called Revenue Booster. Revenue Booster comes available with Scheduler and a few other features that we'll be rolling out later this year and into Q1 of 2024. The full list price is $37 per company. So that means whether you have 2 people using Revenue Booster or Scheduler, or you have 20 people using Scheduler, it's only going to cost you $37 per month, not per seat, per your whole entire company. So that's a great news for you. And in fact, right now, we are offering you the availability to try it out 2 weeks for free. So just, Andy, if you actually wouldn't mind sharing your screen to show people where to head just to try it out. There were links, I believe, in one of the emails, but it doesn't hurt to see it live as well.
Here we go. Do you mean the billing page itself, Will?
Just to the to try out the free trial.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Which actually, I'm realizing you might not be able to see that since you already.
I've paid for Scheduler, Will. I don't have a free trial anymore. But the place to see this would be inside of Scheduler. If you haven't yet purchased Scheduler, at the very top of your Scheduler page is going to be a full banner that says "Start your Revenue Booster trial." You'll be able to hit a button there and begin that 14-day trial of Revenue Booster, which has as its foundation feature Scheduler.
Awesome. And then right now we are offering a launch promo for Revenue Booster. So if you decide to try it out or you like what you've seen today on the webinar, you can head directly to your billing page and take advantage of the nice introductory offer. It's not a forever deal, but it will take a pretty big discount off the first couple months of using Revenue Booster for your CRM plan. If there were any questions, we will download the chat after this and reach out to you directly if there's any questions that we were unable to answer, and we'll also add those to the webpage that we'll post this webinar on. Thank you so much for attending. We just hit the 30-minute mark. We don't want to take too much of your time the time of your day up. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to support@nutshell.com or even growth@nutshell.com. That second one will go directly to me, and I can make sure to siphon off where that question should go to. So thank you so much for attending, and we hope you enjoy Scheduler and Revenue Booster and the other features to come. Andy, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Great work, Will. This was fun. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye, y'all.